I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Here we go, another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. We go every single day at 10 a.m. Welcome to the show. If you are watching and listening live, thank you. We go live on YouTube, also on Twitter every single day. Just search Puck Sports. If you are listening to it, a big thank you. And if you say, wait, I can listen to the show? Yeah, well, you can listen to it and not watch it. Go to the Puck Sports mobile app. You can download the app from the iOS store, also the Google Play Store, if you have one of those Android phones, which you make life miserable for your family and friends on group text. So we do have that available for you. Now, if you are, again, watching or listening to this live, we do podcast everything up later as well. So when you're on YouTube later, or you're watching this later right now, you can just subscribe to the show and also leave a comment. And also on the podcast platforms, we're on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. And, of course, always up at pucksports.com. I broadcast daily from the Puck Sports Studios, built by Limback Lumber. They got free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects, the largest stock moldings in the Northwest. They've got old school service. They've been doing it since 1930. Give our friends a call at Limback Lumber. 206-782-3487. Visit them online at limbacklumber.com. Follow me on the social media platforms. God, they're fun, aren't they? Twitter and Blue Sky at Puck Sports. And then also on Puck Sports on TikTok, Puck_sports, I should say, and Facebook there as well. And also go to pucksports.com. There you can sign up to become a Puck's Posse member. Just $5 a month. That gets you everything that we do here on the Daily Puck Drop and exclusive content like the series we started last week with Dane Brugler from The Athletic, our countdown to the NFL Draft. Episode 2 is coming out next week. I did unlock it for those who want a little taste of what we do on the VIP side. I did unlock last week's show from Dane Brugler. Also, Ryan Divish, which is going to be on today. Divish is with us every single week talking Mariners baseball. We give those who have not signed up a little free taste of it, but the full podcast with Divish every single week for Puck's Posse members, just $5 a month. All right, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it took not just one, but two sponsors to bring this guy in. Ladies and gentlemen, from Bend, Oregon, it's the go-to guy, and he's brought to you by...
Well, Puck, I'm brought to you by my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday appearances by a Clean Streak, professional window washing and exterior cleaning service, proudly serving Island and Skagit counties for more than 10 years. They feature it all: window washing, pressure washing, roof and gutter cleaning. They consistently get 5-star reviews like this one from Pamela Cassidy. Always clean windows, professional, responsive, and we always have smiling faces after they're done. So give them a call, a Clean Streak, for a free estimate, 360-395-5748, or visit acleanstreak.com. And adding to the sponsorship here, we appreciate this from the home course. They've got their annual stay and play package down there at DuPont. You know about the golf course. These packages start at $109. Here's the deal. You pay for a room at one of the 5 conveniently located hotels there at DuPont between this Saturday, March 1st and May 31st, and you get 2, not 1, but 2 free rounds with a cart at the home course. The home course, it's already recognized as one of the best courses in the state, and it's one of the best bang for your buck courses around too. Limited number of packages available, so book today at thehomecourse.com/stay. That's thehomecourse.com/stay.
That's the longest read of all time.
What was? No, I mean, you got to give, 30 seconds to one sponsor and 30 seconds to the other. I saw you smiling, and I could tell by the smile that it wasn't a happy smile.
Oh, no, I'm smiling. I'm just laughing at the people that said, I agree with Mark. It does sound like you're from the bottom of a well.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Again, it wouldn't be an appearance if you didn't have some type of technical problems or issues. I don't know. And then someone like Goldie wants to know, can we get the microphone back? That's a Jim problem. I don't know.
Well, didn't we check this out before the show started?
Yeah.
And didn't it sound okay then?
Nah. I mean, I can't have you read it because if I asked you to redo it, it would have been.
Well, I could do that. I got the microphone handy.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't want you to touch anything. Don't touch anything right now. Because remember, the mic didn't work last time.
Okay. All right. I thought, I was all excited because I found the AirPods and I thought, okay, this will work. But I sound like I'm in a well.
It's a little bit like a well, yes. But hey, listen, people are excited that at least you got the camera on more eye level now.
Yeah.
Not where it's up your nose.
Okay.
You have lots of nose hairs, by the way. I find myself I'm picking out nose hairs left and right. It's unbelievable. I need one of those nose hair trimmer things.
Yeah. Well, they've got them. Just get one on Amazon. I've got one, and as you get older, and then hairs start coming out of your ears too. It's just, I got hair on my back. I mean, it's a freaking
but you've always had that. I think you've always had the hair on the back. I'm just saying, when you get older, that nose hair. I mean, it's really creeping down. I don't like it.
Yeah. No,
I don't like it at all.
The other thing I really dislike about older people that do they not realize that their eyebrows are getting bushier as they get older?
My family makes fun of my eyebrows all the time.
What's wrong with your eyebrows?
They just say that they're too big, too thick. I don't know. Do they look thick to you? My daughter and wife just hammer me on my eyebrows. And like when we have the shout out to Sarah Mann, by the way, I'll give out her information. She comes over and cuts my hair. Comes to the house, lives in the neighborhood, and every time she comes over, they're like, "Can you also cut those eyebrows?"
Yeah.
Hey, would you mind taking and then they're smart asses. Hey, would you mind taking an extra 20 minutes and get his eyebrows worked out? Like, F you.
No, I've never looked at you and thought, God, your eyebrows are bushy or weird looking or anything like that. I try and trim mine up because when I see older people that have like they should get a weed whacker out for their eyebrows, I'm like, do you not look in a mirror and see what you look like, pal? So I don't want to be that guy, but then I don't want to be the guy that trims them too much either. Because I think women sometimes when they start plucking them, then the eyebrows don't come back and you got to start painting them on. Don't want to do that either.
We have a new listener here. Dennis Bracey. Oops, I was here looking for sports talk. Hey, Dennis. Yeah, it's the wrong show for you, bud. I guess Dennis is new here. Sorry, Dennis. Dennis, sorry to disappoint you. There are other shows right now that are going to, sit there and talk about the DVOA and, 40 times at the combine. So don't worry about it. You've got options.
Yeah. Well, maybe Dennis was just poking fun at us.
He could have been. Screw you, Dennis. We don't need you.
No, we don't. No, don't say screw you to Dennis.
I'm just joking with Dennis, busting his balls, for God's sakes. Lord. Come on.
Okay. All right.
By the way, what do you think of the D tackle out of Michigan? His 40 time today. Thoughts on Graham?
I think you're going to cover that at 10:30 with the guy across the pond.
I'm telling you, and listen, and I'll be honest with you. To the love of God, I did not read his entire NFL Combine preview because listen, if I did, I'd still be reading it, and I would have started it 2 days ago. This thing that he wrote is it's so in depth what Rob Staton wrote. So if you want a preview that has more intel than anything you're going to find anywhere else, go to SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Rob Staton. See if I can pull it up for you. I mean, this thing it has to be over 5,000 words, Jim. Maybe it's 10. I don't know how. It's so long, but it's so much detail what this guy has.
No, sometimes I think we overhype things, but this is you can't possibly overhype Rob Staton, and not only his appearances every Wednesday with you, but just what he does with the Seahawks draft blog. And that's not just his primary job. I mean, it's like his hobby, what he's doing there. And he's covering, games over there as a broadcaster, soccer matches, and he's got a family, and how he finds the time to churn out these posts at SeahawksDraftBlog.com. It's amazing. It's truly amazing.
I'm going to pull it up for you here. Let's see. This is his latest one that he wrote. Okay. The Ultimate Seahawks Combine Preview 2025. I don't even know if he has the word. Okay. See, I'm going to start, and you're going to say, when is it going to stop? Oh, it's not going to stop. It's going to keep going and going and going and going and going. I mean, it is a masterpiece. And I didn't read the whole, I skimmed a lot of it just because I'm like, all right, I got to get through. I got to find the key points of this. But look at this. It just keeps going and going and going.
It's incredible, especially with everything else that he has going on. And he'll be glued to the combine there in Indianapolis. And then think about what he has to do, too. It's a 9-hour time difference. So he's doing a bunch of this stuff in the middle of the night.
He is a machine, an absolute machine when it comes to this stuff. So Rob will join us coming up bottom of the hour, get his thoughts there on the combine and just the very latest on it and everything that comes with the combine. Who's going to throw? Who's not going to throw? And it's fun stuff. I mean, listen, it's part of the process of the NFL now. I think it's certainly to me, it's a made for television event now more than anything. I think scouts and I think personnel people in the league will tell you, hey, listen, it's a vital tool of the combine because we want to make sure that what we saw on film now is backed up. But trust me, of knowing people that work in for teams and work for the Seahawks, a lot of the evaluation is based on eyes and film, not the combine.
What do you think when kids don't want to do the drills there at the combine? Like I heard Genty's not going to do it. Shedeur Sanders isn't going to do it. You think it hurts them, helps them, or it doesn't matter?
Probably in the long run, right, it probably doesn't matter, because I bet you there's a bunch of examples of guys who didn't throw, and your people are like, oh, that's just a lack of leadership, but then they went on to have great NFL careers. I always feel like, hey, man, what do I got? I don't know. My film's going to speak for itself. I'm going to go there and have fun and go throw. I'm going to go put on a show. I mean, I guess the hesitancy from quarterbacks is like we're throwing to guys I've never thrown to before. Well, that's going to be the NFL. You didn't play with these guys. If I'm Cam Ward and I'm of these other guys, Shedeur Sanders, why not go and throw? It'd be fun. Show off your arm a little bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on that because I think you want to see what they're doing in actual games. I mean, it's like comparing a golfer on the driving range to when he's actually out there when the shots matter.
Right.
So I can see why some kids don't do it, but
sure.
It seems to me, though, my feeling is, even though I feel that way about it, it's like I think it hurts them more than helps them by not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
what
there's.
What are you trying to hide? And you're not going to get injured.
I think it's embarrassment. I think that's what it is. That they don't want to be embarrassed or somehow hurt their draft stock at all by going to the combine. Let's say Cam Ward goes to the combine and throws, and he's dirting every ball. Does Tennessee then go? Because this could happen. Tennessee could panic. Oh my God. Maybe. What did we see something wrong on film? Can we not take him now?
Well, hey, Puck, do you think you and I are wrong about Cam Ward? Because if you and I were GMs of any team in the NFL, there's no way we would take Cam Ward number one. And yet it seems like he's gaining momentum as being the number one overall choice. And so do you think it's going to be, we're going to look back and go, God, we felt the same way about Jaden Daniels and look at Jaden Daniels now and what he's doing?
Probably.
I mean, can Cam Ward do what Daniels did? Because we always talked about, God, Daniels, when he was at ASU, he wasn't that good. Christ, we beat him, And then, but you look at Cam Ward and we're kind of going, yeah, we saw his flaws there at Washington State, but did he improve to the point that he was so good that he should be the number one guy drafted overall? I don't think so. And I don't think you think so, but we're just, a couple of guys in Seattle talking about this stuff,
Well, it's a weak quarterback class. I mean, that's number one. It's
really helps him. Yeah.
So they all are going to get bumped up because of the quarterback class, but yeah, probably. I've given up trying to figure out quarterbacks. I've given up because every time I think someone is really good, then they're bad. Every time you think somebody's bad, they're really good. Hugh used to say this all the time. Hugh Millen, you remember Hugh? That picking this position is the hardest thing in sports. It just is. It's just, because you can think a guy is, number one overall pick. That's a can't miss top 5 guy, and then they're a bust. And then the guy you take in the 3rd or 4th round or 5th round ends up being a good quarterback. So I think his physical tools, I think he wows you with throws. I think he makes throws that not a lot of quarterbacks in the world can make. I think he'll make it. He's going to make he's going to make a lot of throws where you're going to rip your hair out, and you're going to he's going to drive you nuts. I don't think he's a great leader. I think there's a video out there, and I talked to Danny Kelly about. There's a video of where he's trash talking Shedeur Sanders. And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, man."
Was it just playful though?
Yeah. But everyone's like, "That's a leader. That's an alpha dog." Listen, he didn't have a great reputation of being a leader at Washington State, and that's from guys who coached him. He didn't. So,
okay, I just wonder. It wasn't like I watched a bunch of Miami football this year, though, and maybe he made dramatic improvements in leadership and making better decisions, but. Yeah, you and I remember what it was like when the play broke down. Usually when the play breaks down and you got a mobile quarterback and a guy with a big arm, you're thinking, okay, good things are going to happen. When the plays broke down there in Pullman, I was thinking, oh, shit, I hope he doesn't throw a pick here. I hope he just throws it out of bounds.
I would say that the talent level he had at Miami was far superior. He had a far superior offensive line. He had 2 really good running backs, and he had a good wide receiver. I mean, he just had a better team. So he looked a lot better because he didn't have to carry, the offense as much at Washington State or at Miami that he did at Washington State. I think the system probably was a little bit better for him. Didn't throw a ton of bubbles and stuff like that, and they showcased his arm down the middle. I mean, he's got one knock on him, even at Washington State. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it improved at Miami. I'm with you. I didn't sit there and watch every Miami game. He has a powerful arm. His arm, though, strength does have a governor on it. To 30, 40 yards down the field. Yes, you get beyond that. That pass, at least at Washington State, was wobbly. He wasn't the best deep ball thrower, but you think he is. I think that there's a narrative that he's got this Josh Allen-like arm. And I'm just saying that when he really wants to push it deep downfield, he had a lot of wobbly balls. But No,
30. I think you're right though. I think if it was a better quarterback class, that he might be 3rd or 4th on the list. He certainly wouldn't be number 1. And it's a weird year where you only have 2 guys that stand out. But Jackson Dart might be the 3rd guy or something, but. Yeah, I just don't see him as a can't miss at all. And when you're number 1 overall, I think you should be a can't miss.
I know, but you know this. I mean, years ago watching football.
Same thing like with Jameis Winston and Mariota. I mean, neither one of them worked out.
But they always get. I mean, these guys always get overdrafted every year. Every year they get overdrafted, and so there's never a can't miss. I mean, maybe someone would say, it's easy to say, well, John Elway was a can't miss, or Peyton Manning was a can't miss, or Andrew Luck. Yeah, I mean, you say that now, but I mean, there's always a possibility that they get to the NFL and they absolutely flame out. So I'll say this, and I always repeat this because I know someone's going to say, you just hated him from day one. I like him personally. I've always liked him personally. I've always liked him personally, but I don't think that, maybe he's grown as a leader, but I just know at his time at Washington State, that was a knock on him. He just wasn't the guy that you'd rally around, or he had the inability to do that. Now maybe that improved at Miami. We shall see, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think. I think it's a great story. I really do. He came from a triple option wing T offense in high school to Incarnate Word, then transfers to Washington State, puts up 2 good years, and then goes to Miami, and now is going to be the number 1 overall pick. I mean, that's a great story. It's an unbelievable story.
Yeah, it is. Do you think we'd feel differently about him if he'd beaten the Huskies and didn't throw the ball instead of like running toward that yellow line like we all wanted him to?
Probably. Yeah. Hey, speaking of quarterbacks, did you? I don't know if you were glued to the John Schneider press conference yesterday or read what he said. And it's interesting when people cover this, what words they choose to use and not use when they cover something like this to simply fit their narrative. because I read, and I'm not going to name them, I read some people where they didn't give you the full quote of John Schneider. So it would appear that John Schneider said, oh, Geno Smith, he's our quarterback. And that's it, right? Because they have got a built-in narrative that Geno Smith is a quarterback for the Seahawks and should be the quarterback for the Seahawks. But then there are other reporters who, I don't know, just report and just give you the full quote, like Bobby C., the best in the business, Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times. Okay? And here's the full quote that John Schneider gave in regards to Geno Smith, talking about his contract and decision, the decision the Seahawks need to make. And he said, quote, no, he's got another year, but we expect him to be our guy. But we want to do what's right too. That's the full quote, by the way. Because some people are just saying, well, he's our guy. Expect him to be our guy. Okay, he threw that in there for a reason. We expect him to be our guy. And then he throws it there at the end, but we won't need to do what's right too. So I just think that it's the way everyone looks at this differently with Geno Smith from the lens that you view Geno himself. But maybe I'm viewing it differently. But I read that quote as a GM that's saying, yeah, he's our guy at a price.
I think Macdonald, though, when he was asked about Geno, didn't have the word expect. I think,
but he doesn't make the decision.
Right. Okay. So, let's say that Geno's not the guy then. Do you expect him to be cut? Do you expect him to be traded? What's your expectation of expect?
I think they would trade him. Sure. I mean, I think there's a reason.
What do you think they could get for Geno Smith?
I don't know.
Would it be, because really when you look at him, like his agent can look at it and go, look, man, I can make a case for him being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. A lot of people go, what are you talking about? The fourth quarter comebacks, all the different things, 70% completion rate, all these different good things that he did. And he can probably justify paying him $40 to $50 million a year. And then everybody else that watches him every week kind of goes, Geno, he's not that great. But I think we'd be surprised on what you could get for Geno Smith in return if you traded him. What would it be, like a third-round pick or something?
Third or fourth.
Really? Fourth? It'd be that low?
You have to think you got to factor in the money as well and his age. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be some high draft pick. But here's what I don't know from yesterday. And so somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if he was asked about Sam Howell or he offered up Sam Howell on his own. But in that same discussion with Geno Smith, Schneider he mentioned he wanted to see Sam Howell in Kubiak's scheme. Okay? I'm just telling you what he said.
I know, I saw that.
Okay, too. And he goes, quote, I want to see Sam with these guys, with Clint, with all the boots and the movement stuff. We really didn't see that last year. We were more like sitting in the pocket, and he came in late. It wasn't a good setup for him. Now, again, I don't know if he was asked specifically about Sam Howell or, as Condotta wrote today in the paper, he was offered that up. He offered that up on his own. I don't know, but.
Well, I think we all saw the one game where Sam Howell came in, and usually that's when a backup quarterback comes in and you see some flashes and you're kind of going, okay, that's why they like him. And that's why I liked him. And yeah, that's the guy that we saw in Washington. Sam Howell sucked that night. He was terrible. I don't care if it was Ryan Grubb or Clint Kubiak or whoever the hell you want as an offensive coordinator. That just sounds like a BS comment to me. Like Clint Kubiak's going to come in and magically transform Sam Howell into a starting quarterback?
If you think it's BS, then why would the president GM offer that up? Why?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, you do. Why would he offer that up? Leverage. He's negotiating in the media, and he's bargaining with Geno's people. Listen, man, you can ask for $50 million. You want to be paid. I mean, he wants to be paid as a top 5 NFL quarterback. He's just not. He's not a top 5 quarterback in the league. And then
No, but he's going to be saying, "Give me Kirk Cousins money," and nobody thinks Kirk Cousins is top 5 or 10 anymore either.
Of course not. But I understand when people say that. Well, Kirk Cousins. We're not talking about Kirk Cousins. We're talking about Geno Smith. And so just because one player got paid a ridiculous amount of money doesn't mean that you need to do it, right? I mean, I'm just saying he offered up Sam Howell.
So you think he's
to
offering
Geno
up Sam
Smith's
Howell
camp that, hey man, if you want too much, I'm kind of intrigued by. He probably is not intrigued at all about Sam Howell, but he's just saying, hey, I don't know, Sam Howell kind of does it for me. Sometimes I sit at home like Puck with a cigarette in my hand down my pants on Sam Howell.
Yeah, if I'm Geno's agent and he throws that out on the table, I'm looking at him. Good luck with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the agent's sitting there shaking in his boots, going, "Oh my God,"
You know, my favorite part about this whole Geno thing is some of these guys and whoever they know who they were that were on that plane with all these guys. Did you read that? Where some of these guys were all on the plane with all the guys flying to Indianapolis? Do you see where Pete was talking to Macdonald and Schneider? Apparently, Pete couldn't afford first class, and everyone's up there like, "Oh, I bet you they're up there discussing Geno Smith trade." Yeah, I bet you they are. I bet they're in first class, and Pete's talking to Mike and John, so everybody else can hear in first class. Hey, what does it take to get Geno Smith in a trade? I'm sure that's exactly what they were talking about.
Well, here's what I would do if I were the GM. I would be exploring every option I could to get Matt Stafford to Seattle. That's what I'd be doing. I'm a huge Matt Stafford guy. I've been ever since he was in Detroit. I mean, they were so close to beating the Eagles. He's 37. Geno won't be 35 until like October. But
that doesn't
you make
solve
a guy
your
available
problem,
like
though.
What?
But they're not a quarterback away from winning a championship. Why would you go get Matt Stafford?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You're crazy.
If Matt Stafford is your quarterback in Seattle, you have a shot at the Super Bowl. You have a better shot at the Super Bowl than you do with Geno.
No, okay, maybe, but you're not that much closer. No way.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree
all you want. They got no one to block.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, they can address that in the draft, free agency. But Matt Stafford, the Rams are making Matt Stafford available. I'm going, what are you guys doing?
You still got to pay
him.
And
I know a lot of people who know the salary cap and all those different things and what they're paying Stafford and his age and all of that. All I know is that guy's a Hall of Fame quarterback who almost beat the Eagles in Philadelphia. He was 19 yards away. And they're making him I know that, Puck. I already said that.
But they're not a quarterback away from winning a championship. I
disagree. A quarterback that's that good can make things, your weaknesses not appear to be as weak as they were until he got there. I mean, that's just, just my opinion. I just love Matt Stafford. I always have. Always have. I know you're right. I'm sure.
I agree with you. He's a great quarterback, but I agree he's a great quarterback.
Yeah, I heard Hasselbeck's brother talking about it. This is typically the age when you start breaking down as a quarterback. I understand that, but I didn't see any breaking down of Matt Stafford this year at 37.
Okay, but my question is, why would he want to get rid of him? Why would Sean McVay want to get rid of him?
Because he's sensing that he's at the end of his prime.
Yeah, so then why would you trade for that?
Well, Sean McVay might be wrong.
Yeah, okay.
Like, why are they getting rid of Cooper Kupp? I mean, if you throw money out the window. I mean, they're talking about Cooper Kupp like he's trash or something.
That hideous beard of his. That's why they're getting rid of him.
I mean,
that beard is
stick
just
up for the Yakima kid.
Just awful. Just awful. Awful beard. No, I mean, I'm not a Matt. No, they need to find a quarterback. I don't know if they find it in the draft or what, but they need to find someone who is young and they can look forward to in the future. Not a 37-year-old to me. I don't think they've got too many holes still on the team. I think they have too many holes with Geno Smith. I mean, listen, I don't mind bringing Geno Smith back, but not at what he thinks he wants. There's just no
they're not
way.
Gonna do that. They're probably going to do some sort of 2 or 3 year deal, right? And just kick the can down the road, as Michael Sean talks about, and then have a better salary cap number.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think they're in a position. I mean, they're going to explore all these different options. But yeah, I would say I'd bet with both hands that Geno's going to be the starter next year.
What do you think he meant? Because he loves his cryptic tweets. What do you think he meant by his little cryptic tweet? Did you see that one where he used the LeBron walking out of the press conference for some reason? I don't know why.
I don't know. What'd you read into it?
I can't. It followed up one where he was applauding Florida and Ron DeSantis for getting rid of the state property tax. I don't know with him. I can't figure him out sometimes.
Well, no, I mean, with your point there, you can make a case if you're Geno's agent, like, okay, even if you guys wanted to bring in Stafford, the O-line that you have, I mean, Geno looked pretty damn good considering that offensive line. Imagine what he might look like if the line was better.
Yeah, I just found it interesting. I just enjoy when people read and they use the quotes differently when it comes to certain things.
Are you referring to a reporter who insisted that Russell Wilson would never be traded?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying that I just think it's instead of using the full quote, I mean, because I just saw there's just different ways how people report it. And I mean, the full quote was, we expect him to be our guy. But then some left out, but we need to do what's right for us. So I think that gives you that indicates that, yes, we like him, but we like him at a cost that benefits us.
Wouldn't the follow-up be, why wouldn't you expect him to be your guy? I mean, he's got 1 year left on his contract. He's not a free agent to be like Ernest Jones.
Right. Because John doesn't want to say the truth out loud because it's too much money. That's why.
Do you think in his heart of hearts that he's privately talking to his wife and his kid and going, yeah, I guess we're going to have to go for another year with Geno, but I really don't want to?
Because I want Sam Howell. Hey, before you leave us, okay, what's on the plane? What's on the docket today? Is it warmed up there enough in Bend to play a little golf?
Yeah, it's sunny today. It's supposed to be, I think, in the 60s tomorrow. I heard it's nice in Seattle, too, though.
Yeah, like 62, 63 today. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Go hit up your local. Go to the home course, by the way. Go to the home course today and get in around. Tell them Jim Moore sent you. I think it looks like you may be getting your wish, and I know where you stand on this one, and I know you and I are going to disagree. Banning of the tush push. Everyone's bitching and moaning. These lame-ass, soft coaches. Well, I want to ban the tush push. Not fair. Yeah.
It's not a football play.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What's a football play?
Why should you be able? You can't assist a runner.
Yes, you
that
can.
has the ball.
Yes,
you can't push him from behind like that.
Yes, you can.
That's messing with the integrity of the rules.
But that's not a rule. You're incorrect. That's not a rule. You can push from behind. You can't pull them, but you can push.
Well, you're incorrect about thinking Stafford won't make a difference, okay, pal?
So you're part of the sheep.
I'm a proud sheep
that want it banned. So because other teams can't defend it, and because the Eagles have the biggest, most physical offensive line in football, coupled with probably the most physical quarterback, and they came up with a play based on watching rugby that people can't defend in short yardage, we want to ban it.
Yeah, however you want to word it, Puck. Yes, I do want it banned. I think, everybody talks about, what's his name, Hurts, like squatting 600 pounds, and other quarterbacks can't do that. How about, okay, if that's the truth, and I agree that it probably is, why not let Jalen Hurts, unassisted, go behind that big offensive line you're talking about, and if he crosses the goal line on his own, without, like 2 or 3 guys going behind him and shoving him through the crowd.
But then you want to change every rule then. You want to change that rule in general, because when a running back carries the ball, the offensive lineman pushes them from behind. You want to ban that too.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That should not be allowed
so
either.
Any assistance
when
from
you've
behind.
got the pile, and think about it, it's all based on which team you're pulling for. Like if it's your team that's doing that shoving forward, you're going, oh, all right, my God, he might get a first down. And the other team, you're going, wait a minute. They should have blown the whistle. He was stopped right there, and you got another 3 yards. That's a poor spot. And so it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's within the, a lot of us who have integrity, we believe in integrity, not in everything.
So let me ask you: do you like the pick play?
The pick play?
Yeah, where the wide receiver doesn't really run a route; they're just picking the
No,
the
I don't
DB?
like that either. No.
Oh, so you want that out too?
Yeah, if it's an illegal pick, yeah.
Okay, but there's a gray area with it.
There's a gray area there, but yeah, I mean, every time they call that and they show the replay, you go, oh yeah, he was right. Yeah, he did pick him there.
But there's clearly, when they run that play, clearly the wide receiver that is running towards the DB has never, ever has the intention of ever going out for a route. His whole desire, his whole mission is to pick that DB. Shouldn't that not be illegal?
I don't know. Do you like that?
Well, yeah, it's fine. I don't mind it.
Okay. And so you hope that the tush push remains too.
Yeah, because I can't stand people that want to whine about it because they can't stop it, or because they don't have the personnel to do it. And that's what's happening. It's because people like the Packers don't have the personnel, so they want to complain about it. Stop it. Yeah. Figure a way to stop it. You know what's going to stop it? Here's where it stops. If you're the Eagles, okay, is when Jalen Hurts gets hurt. Then they'll stop. When he gets a concussion or his knee or something happens, I'm not saying intentionally hurt him. I'm just saying that's when it stops. But no, I just think it's blown out of proportion. But whatever. It doesn't bother me, I guess, as much as it bothers other people. Okay. If the Seahawks were doing it, it'd be great. I'd be all in. We should have been doing that with Russell Wilson. He would have been perfect for it back in the day.
Oh, Russell would have been great with that.
Yeah. All right. So you playing golf today? What are you doing?
Nah, still recovering from my knee surgery, so I can't golf yet. I can't golf till like April. But yeah, just doing knee exercises, going to PT, kind of a boring day. Don't have too much planned.
All right. Well, you got a question you want to ask Rob. You want me to relay a question to Rob for you?
Oh, yeah. I want to. Okay, how about this? 10 years from now, Rob Staton, what will we be saying about Cam Ward in the NFL?
Okay, I'll ask him.
Okay. Is that good?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Okay. And tell him I love him. Tell him I love him, too.
Okay, I don't want your wife. I don't want Kathy to hear that, but okay.
Yeah, and I love the way he says your name, too.
Puck.
Because it's not Puck, it's Puck.
It's great. I get a kick out of every time, too. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you on Friday.
Okay, sounds good, Puck. Go Cougs.
All right, go Cougs. There he is, Jim Moore, the go-to guy, all brought to you by Clean Streak Professional Window Exterior Cleaning Services and the home course in DuPont. It's a lovely day to go play golf, so go sign up and get a tee time today at the home course, homecourse.com. All right, talk a little football with Rob Staton. It's all brought to you by Superior Linen Service, family-owned and operated since 1926, committed to delivering the highest quality products and services to the greater Puget Sound area. All right. Chalet Bowl. Superior Linen Service is going to take care of you. 253-383-2636. And joining us right now is Mr. Rob Staton from SeahawksDraftBlog.com. You can check out his YouTube channel at Rob Staton Football. Follow him on Twitter at Rob Staton. All right. I'm going to ask that question. I think you heard it in the backstage. So you answered Jim Moore's question. 10 years from now, what are we saying about Cam Ward, you think?
I don't think he's going to be a 10-year starter in the NFL. There's a lot of things to like about Cam Ward. He seems to have a live arm and he's creative. I just think that the things that are both make him interesting as a player are going to be the things that ultimately could prove to be his downfall, which is the relentless desire to scramble when it's not even necessary, the need to drift backwards all of the time when a crossing route's wide open across the middle. And you can get away with that in the ACC. He had the second best time in the pocket amongst the draftable quarterbacks. They're playing terrible defenses every week. He's not going to get a lot of those luxuries in the next level. So I don't have the most confidence for Cam Ward. And the thing you also have to remember here, Puck, is where is he going to go? He's going to go to a bad football team picking early in the first round. So the odds are stacked against him. And I don't think he's a Jaden Daniels. I don't think he's a player of that quality. So I'm not that optimistic for him. I've got to be honest.
What about Shedeur?
I think probably something very similar. He doesn't have the big physical traits. He in the study that I did on the quarterbacks, nobody sacks himself more than Shador does. It's incredible that his numbers are even worse than Caleb Williams the year before, because that was his thing. You know, he just created so much pressure for himself, and Shador Sanders blew him out of the water in terms of doing that. He had the most time in the pocket, believe it or not, of all the quarterbacks in this draft. He had 3 seconds.
Shador Sanders did?
Yeah. Wow. He had 3 seconds on average per play, which was way ahead of a lot of the other quarterbacks. And I found that really, really hard to believe too, because he gets sacked a lot. And then you look at the numbers, like he was responsible for so many of those sacks. So he's going to have to cut that out. So the thing for Shador is I've just got this feeling that he's maybe not going to go as high as some people think. And it would not be a surprise if he ended up somewhere. I'm just going to say, you were talking about Matt Stafford with Jim. It's not the most unrealistic thing to imagine that he ends up with Sean McVay in LA one way or another. And if he ends up there, then he's got every chance of being a success.
Okay. So there's always been this thought the Raiders would take him.
There's a chance. I think the problem with that is that, and I've been guilty of this as well, as I think we've all kind of lent into the Tom Brady and Coach Prime connection. They're not going to draft Tom Brady. Who was saying this recently? Somebody was saying this in the media, that Tom Brady is the ultimate competitor. He is Mr. Competitive. He isn't going to take a quarterback because he's mates with Coach Prime or because there's like a little bit of a mentorship thing going on there. He's going to take Shador because Shador's worth the 6th overall pick. And I just get the feeling that the closer we get to the draft, I don't think Shador Sanders is going to be viewed as somebody to go 6th overall. We will see. As you've said, teams reach on quarterbacks. They do it most years. The only thing I would say is that in 2022, people were saying Malik Willis was going to go 2nd overall, and he went in the 3rd round. So sometimes you do get players who are promoted beyond what they are because people think that people will reach on quarterbacks. Every now and again, they're not. They don't go that early.
What do you think of Matt Stafford? What do you think? You like Jim's? You like Jim's idea? Trade for Matt Stafford?
Matt Stafford's going to want $50 million a year, and he's 37, and I don't think the Rams are going to gift him to the Seahawks. So I don't see that one happening. I don't even think he would probably want to come and play in Seattle in the NFC West for another team. I think he's probably got his heart set on joining his brother-in-law in New York. So I think either LA or the Giants for Matt Stafford. I think that's likely.
What did you make of the? We read it, and then we can move on to the combine stuff. We joked earlier, Jim and I, just about how many words you wrote on that combine preview, which is just massive. But what did you make of the full quote from John Schneider about Geno Smith?
I think it's pretty obvious what the Seahawks want out of this situation. I think they've had a look and have decided that the best thing to do is to extend the bridge arrangement with Geno Smith. So I think that a lot of the language that they're using is we want you to be here, but we want you to be here on our terms. And if he wants the kind of contract that Kirk Cousins got, if Matt Stafford signs a new contract with the Rams in the next 5 days, and then Geno Smith says, I want that, the Seahawks are going to go, well, go and have a look where else you can get it then, because we ain't giving it yet. They're not going to do that. So it's been this way for a while, Puck, and we've talked about it. There is going to have to be a compromise agreement here. And the question still remains, is Geno Smith willing to go down that route? And I don't know if there's going to be a whole bunch of teams out there willing to pay him more than Seattle is. So he needs to be careful. Yeah.
I want to get right into it. And I got to ask you here real quick, the preview that you did for the combine from a Seahawks perspective, it's just the amount of work, Rob, that you put into it is massive and impressive. And kudos to you. How many words was that?
It was 9,250.
I was close. I did say 10,000. I said 5, and I'm like, no, can't be 5,000. It's got to be more than almost 10,000 words came out a couple of days ago. The Ultimate Seahawks Combine preview of 2025. Would you like to just sit down and do a dramatic reading of it?
we'll be here till the next combine next year.
What stands out to you when you cover the combine? We'll get to the Seahawks perspective first, but when you sit down and you watch it this week, which is ongoing, what do you look for? What catches your eye? What do you like? What do you not like about this week?
Well, first of all, I take all of the time off work to watch the combine. And at the end of every combine, I say, I'm not doing that next year because it's just too much. But here I am again. I've booked the days off work.
You're doing it again.
It starts at 8 p.m. my time, and it goes on for about 7 or 8 hours every day. And then by the end of it, it's exhausting. I enjoy certain aspects of it. I think the watching the 40s is fun for anybody. I do like to watch the drills. I wish that they hadn't made it a primetime event. I wish it was more for the geeks out there like myself and the teams rather than the casual viewer, because it used to start at about 9 o'clock in the morning, and that was about early afternoon for me. And then what meant is the players would do the short shuttle and the 3-cone, which is actually a very indicative test of success at certain positions. And now, because it's 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, the players don't do it. So you don't get those results, and it really frustrates me. There are certain things that frustrate me about the coverage of the combine. It is catered too much now to having on in the background. And I think a lot of the analysis sometimes is, hey, that was a good rep. And they say, well, tell me why. That's why I loved Mike Mayock. Mike Mayock was my kind of draft geek. Like, he would sit there and go, you see the hand work that he needs his hands to be in that position instead, or his feet are out of line, or he's bending his waist there. And you learn so much over the course of 8 hours every day. And now I don't feel like we get that. But overall, I think the best thing about the combine is when it finishes, Puck, interesting things are going to happen. Free agency, trades, contracts, that's around the corner now. We're getting very close to some big news in the NFL. Who
do you look at? I mean, who catches your? I mean, you look at all the positions, and you did a great job in the preview of kind of breaking down all the kind of the key positions. But there's someone. I mean, I'm going to lead you into the offensive lineman at North Dakota State here in just a quick second. Before we get to him, though, who are you kind of keenly looking at this week from a Seahawks perspective?
Well, we know that the Seahawks are taking on an outside zone blocking scheme. So it makes sense to look for the offensive lineman who will fit into that. So I've done two things in the build up to the combine, and the results of this is the main thing I'm going to be looking out for here. It is which of the really good zone blockers in the draft, a short list: Charles Grant, Wyatt Millam, Armand Membu, Jack Nelson, Logan Brown, Clay Webb, Gray Zabel, Cam Williams, Marcus Bowe, Kelvin Banks, Connor Colby. And then there's a few others like Jared Wilson, Dylan Fairchild. You could also mention Luke Kandra, you can mention as well. So how do they test? Because I actually had a look at the average speed, agility, explosive traits of the best zone blocking linemen in the NFL. And I've got the data for that. So for example, vertical jump needs to be about 30 inches. 40 needs to be 5 seconds to 5:10. Short shuttle, 450 to 455. I want to see those stats, because if you have a great zone blocking grade and then you have the physical profile that matches the best zone blockers in the NFL currently, you've got a better chance than most of being a good zone blocking offensive lineman. So it is as simple as just refining it down to that. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. And then the other thing I'm going to be looking for, I want to see these quarterbacks throw. I want to see as many of them as possible throw. I think there is some benefit to seeing an apples for apples, put them in the same situation, put them in the same building, same conditions, and let's see who's got the best arm. Because when you watched the Senior Bowl a few weeks ago, nobody really stood out with their arm. So let's see them. Let's see them test that ball downfield. Let's see if they can throw with a bit of anticipation. Let's see if they can be accurate throwing to air, because you need to be accurate throwing to air if you're going to be accurate throwing with a pass rush.
So do you think it hurts these guys when they don't throw?
I don't think it hurts them necessarily. Some players are just going to go very, very early and they'll do a pro day and no one will care. Like, let's put it this way. If Brett Favre was in this draft, a player of his quality, let's say, and you knew that he was going to be really good, you wouldn't need to see him throw at the combine. A team who's picking first overall is just going to take the guy. So it doesn't matter. But it's the sort of the lesser, and I don't think there's a quarterback in this class who can really justify it. I suppose Cam Ward would say, well, what's the point? I've got everything to lose because I'm projected to go early anyway. But for the others, I want to see him throw. Get out there and compete. It's a selfish thing. But I think if I was running a team, I'd say, I want to see you guys out there.
Well, and especially from a viewer, whether you're like a nerd like you or the casual viewer, the one thing that can stand out where you can evaluate a player is just kind of how they throw, right? Oh, that was a good throw, good pass. Like when you watch offensive linemen do stuff, you're like, I don't know, was that good or not? Even for like the casual viewer when they watch it, when you just watch a guy throw a ball, right? If he throws it into the dirt, he throws it into the dirt, and you can go, that was a bad throw. So, and it's fun. It's fun for TV.
Yeah, for some of the drills, it's great to see a player just obviously stands out. Like last year, it was Braden Fisk, the guy who went to the LA Rams in the second round. Yeah. He just was remarkable in everything that he did. And when you see a player test as well as that and perform as well as he did in the drills, it's really hard to imagine them not being a success at the next level. So that's the other thing, is there going to be somebody who performs that well at the combine? They're not that frequent. Aaron Donald did it. You were like, wow, look at this guy. It's incredible. Braden Fisk did that last year. Is there going to be somebody in this group who is just such a freakish athlete that you think he's going to make it? And then can you go and draft that guy? Because often they do end up being successful.
How angry how angry does it make you when reporters ask what teams did you meet with?
Oh, man. Listen. If there's anybody listening to this who is a reporter for any of the teams, and I don't know if they do or not, don't ask those questions. And look, there is one or two. I know they're going to do it already. There's one or two guys who cover the Seahawks.
The dots.
Yeah, but they meet with everybody. Like they meet with everybody, and it doesn't mean anything. And do you know what is useful? It's the official 30 visits when they actually bring people into the VMAC and spend a day with them. They are often worth paying attention to because they do tend to take players from that list, and they've got a bit of interest there, or they're trying to fill in the gaps. Wow. At the combine, yeah, you're just meeting guys. Like you're not gonna show your hand for the guys you really like anyway.
You think Pete Carroll takes his shirt off again this combine? Why not?
I mean, has he got a shirt to take off? They made him flying coach.
No he doesn't. Kidding, huh?
He doesn't.
What's with the Raiders? Look where you're going, man. You're going to a team that won't buy you a first-class ticket.
And he seems to be wearing a lot of black and grey clothes that are his own black and grey clothes. Like it's as if they've Pete, we can't afford. We've paid off too many coaches. You're still paying Josh McDaniels. Like we can't afford to get you a hoodie. So you just wear something black.
Everybody was so fixated on him being in first class and talking to Macdonald and Schneider. All I was wondering is he in a middle seat in coach? That's all I wanted to know. Can you imagine that Mark Davis said, you're in the middle seat? And then I thought about, did the Raiders actually buy his ticket, or did he have to buy his ticket on his own and then have to fill out like an expense report for it? I bet he did.
Here's the thing we're not addressing here, right? If I was Pete Carroll and had Pete Carroll's money and the Raiders said, we're going to put you in coach, I'd go, it's okay. I've got this.
NetJet. Call up NetJet.
Yeah, whatever. I'm getting to Indianapolis on my own. Like I don't. He is a multi-millionaire. He doesn't need to sit and coach.
Did that surprise you? That's the first thought I had. Why are any of these guys flying? Even first class isn't as nice as it once was. Why is John Schneider and Mike Macdonald flying domestic airlines? Can't the Seahawks organization, who's worth like billions of dollars, fly these guys out?
I mean, I don't know. First class is undoubtedly going to be very nice, but to sit in coach and to know that as you are Pete Carroll, you're one of the most recognizable faces of American sport. You are going to get probably pestered. You are going to get harassed. You are going to get talked to by everybody. You would have thought that in his world there would be a way of just, I got this. I don't need that coach ticket. You can keep that.
It was one thing I was just thinking about when watching him. All right, tell our listeners about Gray Zabel, North Dakota State. Why does he make sense for Seattle?
Well, he's a great zone blocker, and I did a little bit of a revision. I like to do this. You make your sort of initial grades and your initial thoughts on your players, and I put them in a horizontal board. There's 250 odd players on that right now, and then you have to go back and you have to reassess, because once you've watched everybody, you kind of have an idea of, okay, well, he stood out, so now I'm going to go back and watch him and just compare and contrast. And when I went back and watched Kelvin Banks Jr., there was just something missing there. Now that I know the scheme the Seahawks are running, I just thought, he doesn't feel as much of a fit to me. He's got an okay, good zone blocking grade. He just didn't. I couldn't picture him in the zone blocking system. And then you watch Gray Zabel, and he pretty much looks like the perfect zone blocker. Combo blocks very well, reaches up to the second level so often. He's working in space on his own, isolated, getting up onto linebackers, getting onto defensive backs, and latching on, and just doing such a good job on that. One of the aspects of zone blocking is when you have to work across the line. You have to sway to one side, and really your job is as simple as just push somebody out of the way. It's not a very technical way of referring to it, but just go and shove somebody. Yeah. And you watch Gray Zabel, and he does that. He just masters it. Like when the player goes away from him, just shove someone out of the way, and then like the running lane opens, the back cuts back into that gap, and he was springing runs just by pushing people out of the way. He's sort of just knowledge of what to do and working in that system. And I just thought, this guy fits. This guy really, really fits what they want to do. So I think if he tests as well as the numbers I gave you earlier, I think you probably can drop down a little bit, or even justify taking him at 18 to fill a need. I would prefer the Seahawks to address their offensive line need in a couple of weeks in free agency, so that they don't have to go and rush to take an offensive lineman, that they can just let the draft come to them, best player available. But if they have to take somebody early, I think Gray Zabel is the best fit. I think he had a very overrated Senior Bowl. I think all of those 1v1 reps that people said he won, he pretty much lost. He was much better in the scrimmage, but his tape is fantastic. His tape looks like a high pick for the zone blocking scheme.
In your latest mock draft, I believe this is your latest one, you've got Abdul Carter, number 1 to Tennessee. You've got Mason Graham, the D tackle out of Michigan, go number 2 to Cleveland. So no quarterbacks in 1 and 2.
Well, I have a feeling that the Browns might end up kicking the can down the road and going with Kirk Cousins, just because he's cheap and they need a cheap quarterback. And Kevin Stefanski and Kirk Cousins had a great 2 years in Minnesota. That wouldn't preclude them from taking a younger guy, of course, and they may still do that. And Adam Schefter was saying, I think yesterday, that he expects the Browns to take a quarterback at 2. So that's something I'd have to consider if I was doing a mock draft this week. But yeah, I just think I don't think it's a shoo-in that these quarterbacks are going to go early. Mason Graham's a very good player. And then the other thing with Travis Hunter is Coach Prime has kind of made it clear that he's going to tell you whether you're allowed to draft Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. And I think the feeling was that Cleveland is a no-go area for either of those players. So it might be that they go in a different direction. And Mason Graham is just a really good player. He's probably a slightly better version of Byron Murphy coming into the league. And in a draft where you don't have much in the way of sort of sure first-round talent, he's definitely one of those players.
Number 8, Kelvin Banks. We've talked about Kelvin Banks a little bit, the tackle/guard out of Texas. You got him, Seahawks at number 18.
Wouldn't do that now.
Wouldn't do it now.
No, every time I write a mock draft, this is why I hate mock drafts. Every time I write a mock draft, I want to change the whole damn thing like straight away.
So you want that out? Get him out.
Yeah,
what changed your mind? Why no Kelvin Banks now?
The way I watched him play, I just don't see him as a zone blocking guard. Okay. I just don't. I think he's somebody who he's probably going to have to stay at tackle. We'll see how he measures this week. He's probably going to have to stay at tackle. Maybe have to move over to right tackle. I don't think he is a great left tackle. I don't think he projects as an amazing guard. I think that my rankings for guards right now would be Tyler Booker 1. He may not be a scheme fit, but he's just so freaking good. Like he's got the best guard tape since Quentin Nelson, who went 6th overall. So as long as he doesn't test like a large mammal, then he'll be okay. Like he's so that's that. And then for me, it's Gray Zabel. I just think Zabel and Membu, and then Zabel. I think Membu's he's got that about him, but I don't know if they're going to be there. And that's the other thing, Puck. If you're looking, if this ends up becoming a Membu and Zabel type of situation because of the fit for the zone scheme. I want them to sign free agents so that instead of talking about these guys, we can talk about players who actually warrant the 18th pick, who are maybe different positions. And I think that's if you can fix your O-line in free agency and then just get the best talent imaginable at 18, that's the best pathway to success in 2025.
Okay. All right. What else you got working on? I mean, you don't stop. So what's the next piece that people can go and, by the way, the Zabel piece, go to Rob's YouTube channel, Rob Staton Football, because he has a kind of a breakdown on Zabel. So even more information there on him. But up at SeahawksDraftBlog.com, you've got your preview that we've just discussed of the 2025 NFL Combine. You've also got the tiers that we didn't get to about Todd McShay. But what else is coming down the pipeline next there at SeahawksDraftBlog.com?
Well, it's Combine Week, and typically what I do during Combine Week is a live blog as the thing is going on. I am going to not do that this year. I do need to sort of rein it in a little bit, and I've decided that the 8 hours of live blogging that I've done in the past, followed by a full review of everything that's happened, followed by a live stream, is going to kill me at the age of 40.
A little much, yeah.
So it's going to be an open thread when the thing's going on, so people can comment, and I will join in the comments. I will share some thoughts in that if people want to come in and join along on that. As soon as the day is finished, I will have it will give me a bit more time to get ahead of the curve on the article. So the article will have loads of data. I'll do a lot of analytics for the offensive linemen, for example, on the final day. Who are the most explosive testers? Who fit the zone blocking scheme the best? You will have all of that information. Who are the running backs that the Seahawks might be interested in? We've got quite a consistent pattern on who they look for. I'll have sort of the names of the players that we need to keep an eye on if they're going to take one a bit later on. It sounds like John Schneider is going to tap into this class because he said it was an amazing class yesterday. He doesn't usually go into details like that. Defensive linemen, we'll talk about who are the best options there, who might fit for Mike Macdonald. Everything about it. The tight ends, we've got a little formula to work out who the tight ends are most likely to succeed, who are most likely to go with Seattle as well. So we'll have all of that data. That will go up in the article at the end of every day of the Combine. And then one of the guys that I stream with, Robbie Williams, he lives in Indianapolis. He's going to be at the Combine every day.
Oh, nice.
So he and I will jump on. We will do a stream. He will give us his thoughts from inside Lucas Oil Field, and I will give my thoughts from thousands of miles away, watching it on the laptop, because we don't put it on the TV here. We have everything in the NFL except the Combine. So I have to watch it on the laptop and make notes on an iPad.
I'm going to give you I'm going to give the last question to one of our audience members. Jeff is a longtime viewer and listener. What is your thermostat set to? Because you do always have a sweatshirt / jacket on. Do you keep the house cold?
No. This is my office. So what tends to happen is when I've not been in here during the day, like sometimes I will come in and work in here and then I will put the heating on. When I don't do that, it is the coldest room in the house. So there's kind of like I have two options when I come to speak to you, Puckett. It's either to wear an extra layer or just spend the whole time doing like this. So I just put the coat on.
I love it.
And I hope that has answered the question.
It's wonderful. Great work, man. Keep it up. Follow Rob on Twitter, Rob Staton. Follow him again on YouTube, Rob Staton Football. Check out all the videos that he and Robbie will be doing. Robbie Williams, right?
Yes.
Yes. Is there a musician, Robbie Williams, too?
There is a very famous musician over here called Robbie Williams. So whenever I tell anybody I'm doing a podcast with Robbie Williams, it kind of gets them for a little while there. But that's I don't think he's that famous in America, though, is he? He's not very well known.
Nah, I mean, he's known, but not well known for sure. Yeah. And then, of course, SeahawksDraftBlog.com. It's all brought to you by Superior Linen Service, our visits with Rob every single week. Thank you, Rob. We'll talk next week. Great work, man.
See you next week.
There he is. Rob Staton, SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Again, brought to you by Superior Linen Service, family owned and operated since 1926. Give them a call, 253-383-2636. And big sponsors of Rob Staton here all year long. And again, check out all of his work there on SeahawksDraftBlog.com. And, of course, you find his appearances on Puck Sports, on YouTube, and, of course, part of the Daily Puck Drop when we release the full show up on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. And, of course, you can always find everything up at pucksports.com. All right, we now are our other Wednesday guest, Ryan Divish, joins us from Peoria, Arizona, talk a little baseball. It's brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, serving the community since 1941. They are located in Tacoma's historic Proctor District, family-owned and operated for 40 years, delivering top-notch customer service and a unique 12-lane experience. Check them out at chaletbowl.com to book your next reservation and experience in local fun. All right, as we have been doing this year with Divish, the full podcast and the full video and audio available to the Pucks Posse members. Again, just $5 a month. You get a discount when you sign up for a year. But as always, we will always give you a portion of it for free because I understand some don't want to sign up. And I get it. Money's tight. I understand. Totally get it. If you do have financial concerns, send me an email, puck@pucksports.com. Your joining of the Pucks Posse, though, does kind of support everything. It supports everything that we do free and all the extra bonus content we do, like with Ryan and also Dane Brugler from The Athletic, and a special news show that's going to be happening starting the week of opening day that you don't want to miss, and you're going to love it, by the way. But we have about 15 minutes here or so of Ryan Divish from Peoria talking about, among other things, we start off talking about Julio and getting into his performance this week, and just his performance in the offseason, things that he's working on, and how does he improve on the slow starts that he's had in his first few years in the league. We also talk about Andres Munoz, the bullpen, and a lot about some of the younger players in camp that you don't know. Well, you know their names now. You're going to get to know their names as they continue to go. The Laz Montez, Emerson, Young, Harry Ford, Williamson playing third base. So, all right, here's our conversation from earlier today with Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times covering your Seattle Mariners.
Sometimes, different voices and different things or different motivations get you away from who you truly are as a hitter, and it happens. It happens to a lot of players, and I think, what happened with Edgar last year was that he kind of got back to who he was more as a hitter, which is just, use your athleticism, be the best athlete on the field, and hit it where it's pitched and not try and force it to pull. I mean, that's the thing, is nobody's saying that they don't want Julio to pull the ball, but when you're in a good spot to hit pitches up the middle hard, you're even in a better spot to pull them when they make a mistake on the inner half. And I think that's the big thing.
What type of hitter should he be?
I mean, the ability to hit the ball as hard as he does to right center is a gift. I mean, that ball he hit yesterday is 112 miles an hour, and I mean, it was scorched. It only got about 12 feet off the ground, it seemed like. And that's the thing, is a lot of players don't have the ability to hit the ball that hard to right center. It's not saying you have to try to do it, but if his focus is staying up the middle, gap to gap, and hitting it hard, he'll hit plenty of homers because he's got one of the highest exit velocities average in all of baseball. And and again, when you're on time to do those things and hit the ball that way, you can also jump that inside half fastball if you see it coming early and pull it into next year. So, I mean, I think that's the big part, is just trying to elevate the ball and pull it all the time is a bad idea when these guys throw so hard and they have such breaking stuff. Look, just make quality contact and let the rest of it kind of fall where it may. I mean, it's funny, for so many years you had that whole elevate and celebrate thing, but now you're seeing more and more people are trying to just get back to hitting the ball hard and really letting that be the deciding factor. And if you elevate it, or if you hit it with a ton of backspin and it carries, great, that's a bonus, but really hit it hard and make that contact first.
What's your cliche when you're teaching hitting? You've got to have a phrase. What is it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Do you just get mad at them? Are you an angry coach?
No. I think that's, I often say that's just not effing working for me. Or I was like, really? That's what you did with that? I was like, it's a tee. The ball doesn't move. How can you,
Kids don't hit off a tee enough.
I know. I just tell them a lot of times to, be balanced. And I just say, be balanced, stay behind the ball, hit it up the middle. And, there's a lot of different stuff, top, like palm up, palm down, all that other stuff.
Keep it simple. Yeah, keep it simple. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
best way to do it.
I like with a lot of the kids I work with, they do get caught up that too, is like when you're not as strong, pulling it feels like you're hitting the ball hard and you're trying to get away from that so you can still do it. But yeah, I just try and, we have the screen and just like we're trying to hit the screen or the back corner of the net every time.
Yeah, it's good. What is he working on? Going back to Julio, Div, what is he working on? What has he talked about this offseason and even in spring training to get off to these faster starts, to where he's not coming out of the gate on a slow start, which has been his trend, so far, and it's early in his career. What steps is he taking to rectify that?
I think he's taking more live at bats, not just in games, but the other day he hit off of Munoz, and I think that's the type of thing he's looking at. When he's doing his work, there's some game-like situations I think he puts himself into. But if you think about it, last year, you recall, he had kind of a wrist injury, like dealing from over swinging and swinging too much. So they kind of limited him. I think we'll see him get more at-bats maybe than he did last year during spring, in a way to do that. But I think he's in a better place mentally. He's not really experimenting anything. Last year, he was trying to, not sink so much into his legs and do all this other different stuff. Like, he kind of came in this year with, what he worked on in the fall, which was what he just basically did in the last month of the season. And, he's carried that over. So I think in that regard, he should be ahead of it. But, so much of it too is just like, it's the pitching you face as much as what you're doing that's going to dictate whether you get off to a hot start or not, or where you're playing.
Is that the when he faced Munoz the other day, and we'll get to Munoz in a second, it to me it felt like that. I don't see that a lot. I don't see a lot where their star offensive players will face maybe the top pitchers on the staff. Maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, but does he go into these live BPs? Does he face Logan? Does he face Kirby? Do they do that, or does, when Kirby and Miller and these pitchers, these starters throw, do they normally throw to, I guess, the backups or the lower offensive players on the team?
No, it just kind of depends on who's available, what the day is or anything like that. I mean, I saw Julio hit against Saucedo, and then I've seen him hit against, because the live BPs are more common early, like in the first few days of workouts or even earlier, because the relievers get going sooner. So, it just depends on who's slotted out when you face them. But in Logan's live bullpen or live BP, Cal faced him. Cal hit off of him twice, and Garver's hit off of Kirby or faced Kirby. So yeah, Tellez was facing Munoz. So no, I don't think it's any of that. It's just sometimes who's playing that day in the game, who isn't, who wants. Sometimes guys will go to Lewis Boyd or Dan Wilson and just say, hey, I want to get some more ABs. Can you put me in the lives because I want to see some pitching?
I just like it. I think the more they could do that stuff, especially these offensive players, because you're going up against, arguably the best staff in baseball.
Yeah,
I think it's vital for them. I'd like to see more of it, actually.
Yeah, and Solano was doing it, the other day. And I think one thing that we haven't seen maybe as much in years past, but it's like, the mythology of Edgar, when minor league games start, going over to the minor league side and hitting on 3 different fields, because when you're over there, major league guys get precedent. So Edgar would lead off every inning of a minor league game, and oftentimes he would go from field 3 to field 4 back and forth and lead off every inning. So all these poor bastards making $10,000 or making $1,000 a month playing low A, trying to get their work in for the season, and all of a sudden here comes Edgar. Yeah, sorry, I'm leading off this inning. So, and I'm gonna, wait. You're gonna have to wait. So we may see that a little bit too. Guys going over there just to see some pitches, or because I think. I also like the technology of it all and the thinking. There's always different thinking. Yeah, they have that traject machine that's really cool and it simulates an MLB pitcher. but
That's
there's also no simulation to going out there and just seeing him. The big risk is like some of these minor league guys don't really know where it's going, so you might get dotted. And speaking of that Fujinami guy, you know, they have those the mannequin dummies like in Major League, and he smoked one the other day, and I thought the head was going to come flying off. I was just waiting for it. It was because it's plastic, it's not wood, but he hit it, and he started laughing, which is the best part. He started laughing. He's like, "Oops!" So
I want to get to him in a second because I want to get to him when we talk about the bullpen.
I mean, like, I don't think there was anything special, but you know, that's something that maybe you may see more of because Edgar's the hitting coach. He may recommend it to guys to go do that, where those previous guys might not have as well. Because I think that's the one thing is like guys get, you know, if you're a manager, you know, like, okay, Julio, yeah, you're going to go down there, and some guy throwing 95 from, you know, just drafted and doesn't know where it's at. And, you know, because I remember one year, even in the MLB camp, Ichiro got hit in the head and basically knocked out cold by a 95-mile pass ball that hit him in the helmet. So, you know, that's always the risk of it.
What did you were there for when Munoz unveiled the new pitch? And I mean, the video from Jude that I saw where Brian Wu just is taken aback and gasps. The addition of it. Why did he feel he needed to add another one to his arsenal? He's already got enough.
It was kind of at the urging of Castillo, just because it's when he throws it properly, it runs away from a left-handed hitter, and you know, it's just something. You know, well, I mean, like you're not part of the cool kids club if you don't know how to pitch every year, you know. And so Castillo kind of throws it that way, and he'd mention it to Munoz and said, "Hey, give it a try." So Munoz was playing catch with it, and then, you know, as Adam wrote, he took it into the bullpen the first time. And he told Cal he was throwing a changeup, but Cal didn't really know. And then he threw it to Cal, and Cal was standing, and the ball started kind of like at Cal's, like, below his numbers, and it dropped all the way down to it was almost a cup shot, you know, and, like, Cal had to, like, strain to grab it. He's like, what the hell was that, you know? And so he threw one, so the video I had of him throwing to Cade Marlowe in the game, it was 91 miles an hour. It had, like, 6.5 inches of drop to it. Like Devin Williams' changeup, who everybody thinks is the best, only averages 4.5 inches of drop to it. So, you know, this is a guy throwing it. It's the same arm speed, everything. And so it's just like another weapon for him to have. And, you know, some people are like, oh, why are you showing it? They'll know about it. Everybody knows everything. But in a way, it's also good in the back of your mind. It's like...
That's what I was thinking.
That was like Julio was like, don't you throw me that. It was kind of like the, don't you put that hex on me, Ricky Bobby. Like, Julio's like, don't you throw me that changeup. And so Munoz didn't, you know. But, like, it was funny, we were talking about, and it was really kind of cool. Julio was waiting for Munoz in the clubhouse to talk to him about what he saw and what it looked like and everything else.
I love it.
And he's just like, he goes, I faced Devin Williams. That's better changeup. He's like, I don't want, you know, you take him, and I mean, like, you look at Munoz, he's lighter, he looks more athletic, he's moving well. It's, you know, and then, like, the pitch he struck Julio out on is 100. That's the thing. It's like he has 100 in his pocket, and we sit there and think about the slider. He's got a 2-seam that averages 99, and all of a sudden he's got a 4-seam that he can still rip by you at 100. So I think it just makes it a little more difficult to hit off him. We'll see how he handles it in the game, but yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Hey, do you think at all, will they, because I guess Dan Wilson, it's not to say Scott Service wasn't old school, because he played in that era, but I'm curious with Dan Wilson, do you think they still kind of fluctuate their bullpen at the end of the game based on matchups, or do you think Dan will go to more of a set role for each one of these guys, and that Munoz is his guy at the end of the game, like all the time, or most of the time?
Well, I mean, like, Scott kind of did it that way last year, but it's because there was no default either. You know, you didn't have Brash or any of those guys.
Right.
I think, like, Munoz is still, if the 2, 3, 4 is coming up in the 8th, and you know, like, if you haven't used Brash, then you're going to use Munoz in that situation. You're going to want him facing the best right-handed hitters on the team. You know, so I think it's not really a closer by committee. Munoz is still their best leverage arm. He's just going to go in the highest leverage situation, whether it's the 7th, 8th, or the 9th. especially once Brash and Santos, if he's healthy or whatever, those guys are healthy and you feel like you have better options, then you do that. But like, the thinking, and I think Dan, because of the pitching staff, the pitching coaches believe in this, is like, why, let's say you're facing the Angels and you got Trout coming up in the 8th, you don't want somebody else facing him. You want Munoz, you want your best guy to go against Trout or against Judge. So I think that's what they're going to still do. I think most teams are going to do it that way still. You'll still see guys go in the 8th if it's the best players. You use the best leverage arm against the best hitters in whatever inning is in the last 7th, 8th, or 9th.
Big thanks to, again, Ryan Divish for joining us as he does every single Wednesday, talking a little Mariners baseball. Again, as I mentioned before, and as you hear the end of the video, the full podcast with Divish available to Puck's Posse members. Again, just $5 a month is all it costs you. And you get the full 35 minutes there of Ryan Divish, both video and audio. That will be up later this afternoon. And in addition to that, all the free content we do here at Puck Sports and the Daily Puck Drop. And also Dane Brugler, our NFL Draft episodes and series with Dane. The countdown to the NFL Draft, episode 1 was last week. Episode 2 is coming out next week. That is available to Puck's Posse members. And again, that QR code on your screen, if you're watching live or later, will take you right there. Also, just visit pucksports.com, top of my webpage. There is a link there to sign up and to join. All right, before we wrap it up, we wrap up every show, every daily puck drop. And as always, thank you for watching and listening. Appreciate all of it. With Hey, What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. It is your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online, restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. All right, before we get to, I'll get to the Hey, What the Puck, and then we'll discuss tomorrow's show and Friday's show. Back to Geno Smith for a second. I know it's everyone's favorite topic is Geno Smith and the quarterback discussion. Rob, Staton, and I are kind of in the same camp here. There really are these two factions of the fan base. You're pro Geno or anti Geno. You can be nowhere in the middle when it comes to Geno Smith. I never agree with that. I think there's a middle ground to everything. But I do think whatever your opinion is on him and how you portray that, in the media with what the words and the quote that you actually do use to describe what John Schneider said yesterday about Geno Smith. I mean, just again, if you parse out the full quote from John Schneider saying, hey, we expect him to be our guy, but we want to do what's right too. I mean, I do think that gives you a window into the opinion of what John Schneider feels and thinks about Geno Smith. I think no doubt that he likes Geno Smith. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind that he feels that if the team around him is better offensive line play. This is a discussion that we have with Michael Shandugar all the time. And Mike brings up this point, and I do, to a point, agree with Mike that, you build up the team around him and he's got better tools and a better offensive line, then Geno Smith is, and every quarterback is going to look better. But as I think what Schneider was saying yesterday is there's a point to it. There's a point to where you like someone, and they're not going to cripple themselves financially just because the market says this quarterback is worth this. They're not in a position to do that financially, by the way, and nor should they do it. Just because quarterback X makes whatever, and I know Jim brought up the example of Kirk Cousins, that doesn't mean you need to do that at all. So I think they like him. I think they like him to a point. That's it. And I think that's where they're at right now. I don't think they want to break the bank on him. And I don't think they want to give him what Geno wants. Geno, and he's got every right to feel this way. I love people with supreme confidence in themselves. That's great. He views himself as a top 5 quarterback. He's not. He's just not a top 5 quarterback. The fact that he believes that's fine. He can believe whatever he wants him to believe. he has the confidence in himself, and he's a very good quarterback. But to be paid like that, I don't know. It would be the wrong move from the organization. We've said that, for a while. But they are both kind of in this weird situation of leverage, right? Because you can make an argument on both sides who has the leverage, who does not have the leverage when it comes to it. Because the Seahawks can say, or Geno's camp could say to them, you don't have a quarterback on the roster. You got nobody. And you got Sam Howell, and that's it. Who knows who else becomes available here eventually? For Seattle, I think their leverage and what they would say to probably Geno's camp is, what other options do you have but here? There's no other team that's going to pay you probably what you want based on your age and where they feel they're at right now. Because how many teams who are, a championship team, caliber team, how many teams like that are a quarterback away? Very few. All right, that's Hey What the Puck, and again, it's brought to you by Restoration One, there of North Seattle. It is your restoration company. It lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, mold damage with their property restoration services. They are going to take care of you. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages do affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. All right, little housekeeping notes coming up on tomorrow's show. No show tomorrow. My apologies. It's the last time, our last visit. If you followed along, our oldest dog, Maple, has a pretty aggressive form of cancer, and she's going to the veterinary school over in Pullman once a week. We took last week off. This is her last radiation treatment that is coming up tomorrow. So I leave tonight, and then she undergoes radiation, and we'll come back tomorrow. So good news is it's the last one. Hopefully there's some more good news coming down the pipeline with her. So again, there'll be no live show tomorrow. So no Michael Shandugar tomorrow. No Mike Garofolo tomorrow. We'll put up some of, go enjoy all the draft coverage. I've unlocked Dane Brugler for Puck's Posse members. I've unlocked it for everyone to watch and to see that. So you just go to pucksports.com, click the link on the top of the website. It will take you right there to the website, and that QR code, if you click on that one, will take you there as well. But we'll be back on Friday to entertain you like only we can. Again, thank you for watching and listening today. Thank you to all of our sponsors: Limback Lumber, Superior Linen Service, Chalet Bowl, also a Clean Streak. Big thanks to Brian Turner, also the Home Course as well. And, of course, always thank Georgetown Brewery. Check out their new tavern beer at your local bar and at Georgetown Brewery, georgetownbeer.com. And another big thanks, as always, to Restoration One. Today's Daily Puck Drop, find it on YouTube. When you're there, please subscribe to the channel. Also find it on your favorite podcast platforms. And, of course, always up at pucksports.com. And as always, when you're at pucksports.com, please sign up to become a member of the Puck's Posse. Just $5 a month. You support all of our free content and the VIP and exclusive content we do, like with Ryan Divish every Wednesday of the Seattle Times, covering the M's, and also our series with Dane Brugler from the Athletic NFL Draft Countdown Series. Episode 1 out last week. Episode 2 coming out next week. All right, we will see you back on Friday for another live edition of the Daily Puck Drop. Until then, as always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!